My name is Gacheri Maingi in Jomo. I run a farm by the name of Tri.B, Tri.B. Everyone keeps asking me, what's Tri.B? When we started Tri.B, the whole essence behind Tri.B was to work with business enterprises to help them build their operations. If you talk to many businesses, you start with passion. We've all been talking about passion this morning. So you start your business, you're excited. You know what you want to do, right? But it gets to a point that the operations start killing you because, as you've heard, you don't know everything. So we wanted to come and help them streamline their internal operations. And later on, you'll see why that is important in what you do. But then again, that were going concerns. Those were businesses that were already operating. But then we came across startups also, people who wanted to get things right from the onset. Yeah? So we've worked with a few startups and we've worked with business enterprises. So as we said, Tri.B is the doctor who comes to inject some medicine into your business and make sure that you're operating effectively, just to ensure that you achieve your goals. So that's Tri.B. I debate a lot with people around who an entrepreneur is and who a trader is. Have you ever thought about the difference? Anyone? This is how I define a trader, right? And I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong. A trader is anyone who will buy and sell merchandise. Are we together till that point? So you buy something, mark it up, and sell it. Now, this is what happens with a trader. If tomorrow shoes are not the in thing, and handbags are the best thing, what do? You dump the shoes and head straight to the bags. So the next day, you're like, hey, hold on, I had maize. Is the in thing now. So people are calling you because they want to buy handbags, and you're like, no, sorry, today I'm doing maize. That is what a trader is. But an entrepreneur, still on the same basis of shoes. It's someone who has identified a gap in the market. For example, let me stay away from the ladies. Let me pick the guys, right? My 15-year-old son is on size 11 as we are speaking today. That's a huge shoe. He's 15, so by the time he's 18, he'll be on size what, 13? So there's a gap there in the market. Someone realizes, hold up, it is very difficult to get large shoe sizes. So they will start getting large shoe sizes in Kenya. And then as they are going on, they realize, hold up, if you're having problems possibly getting shoes, maybe even trousers because of the length becomes a problem. So what do? You add on the trousers to the shoes. What are you doing? You're an entrepreneur. You're identifying a gap in the market and filling in that gap. So there's a difference between entrepreneurship and trading. Are we together till that point? Okay, I want to share some statistics about entrepreneurship generally in Africa, so that you realize why entrepreneurship is very, very critical. The reason we are fighting every day to keep it going, right? SMEs employ about 8 million people in Kenya. SMEs. That is about between 80 to 88% of the jobs in Kenya. Did you know that? By the time you're in university, you're striving, as Alex said, you want to get all those grades because you want to work for a big corporate. But in actual sense, the guys who are employing and making the difference is SMEs, yeah? We contribute about 18.4% of the GDP. And the reason we exist as SMEs is because, number one, we create jobs, don't we? We support industrial development. Alex talked about it a lot. Innovation. We are the guys who are going to lead the innovation in this country, and we are leading the innovation. And I'm saying we because I am a proud SME, right? We satisfy local demands for services. Think about it. When you're buying something, either a product or a service, what's the likelihood of you buying it from an SME? 95% of the time. True? Yes. Yeah? And then this is where we forget that we are the ones who are bringing innovation and supply to corporates and government. Without us, SMEs, corporate and governments would not be able to service the market alone. So we come in and we are providing that gap with our services and our products. Okay? However, unfortunately, 70% of SMEs, right, fail during their first 3 years of operation. That's 3 out of 5 businesses. And why? The various challenges. I know if we actually listed them, it would be what? Finance? Everyone, please shout out yours. Sorry? I can't hear you. The passion, but why would the passion die? That's true, but why would the passion die? Frustration, lack of capital, you don't know what you're doing anymore. You remember Gacheri and her operations, you've woken up, you have 10 employees, you're like, oh Jesus, how did I get here? What do I do with these employees? I need them. I've gotten a small loan with the bank is on my back. So they will fail at one point or another, right? But I want to create the realities of entrepreneurship. And the only way I can do this is I want us to take a step-by-step process of business, okay? So you're passionate, you're excited, you want to sell shoes, or you want to do something else. You want to start a business, yeah? But what business? You already know what you want to do. Where do you get information about that business? You're trying to fill a gap in the market, right? And the only way you'll be able to lead in the market is be unique. But how many people are selling shoes in Kenya? Is there a place you can get that information? There's a gap right there. We don't have a comprehensive report on SMEs in this country. Because should I want to start a business in Hurlingham, for example, and I want to start a clinic of some sort, I don't have that information. Even if I wanted to start a restaurant, I want to know how many restaurants are in Hurlingham, what are they selling, what's the price range, what's the market size, assuming, but we start businesses blindly in Kenya. So there's a gap in providing information, okay? As we're saying today, the greatest reason we start businesses is passion, right? Finance is right there, but it's passion. So once you have gotten that out of the way, you need a name for your business. How do you get your name? When you're selling your shoes, do we call it Nani Inc.? It has to have a name. And what you realize in actual sense, and it has been our experience, very few businesses, and especially established businesses, want to deal with individuals. Anyone in business here? Have you had that experience? Yeah? Where someone is like, no, give me a proper business name because I don't want to deal with Gacheri. I want to deal with Gacheri Inc., right? A registered business. So you need to register your business. And luckily for you, in this day and age, e-Citizen is available. You can register your business online. Our time, you had to find a lawyer, sit down, have a conversation. It was a long process. It would take a while. Luckily, now you can quickly register your business, right? So get everything that you need for the business working, yeah? Again, a place to start. Once you've started your business, if you don't have space at home, you're lucky. We have 1,000,001 virtual offices in Kenya nowadays. So you have a place where you can go and sit down. If you need to have a meeting, you can actually have your meeting there. So it's getting easier to start your business enterprise in Kenya, right? Once you have registered your business, you already have your product. Have you decided what your product is by this point? You have? The biggest problem we are also having or facing as entrepreneurs in Kenya, and I want to touch on it, is pricing. How do you price your product? Let me answer that for you, because this is what all Kenyans do. You take a peek at your neighbor's business, and you're like, 320. 319 and 95 cents. Isn't that what we do? You pick at your neighbor, and you remove a shilling or 5 cents off of it, right? Now, this is what you haven't factored in. By the time your neighbor is doing the 320, possibly they have done a whole assessment of their costs, what it'll take to get the material to produce and stuff to arrive at 320. You've not done the same analysis. You've just picked, and by the time you're done, you realize, hold on, I am actually making a loss. You're not even breaking even. Because maybe your product is different from theirs. It could be of a higher quality, right? So you need to figure out how to do the pricing. Don't just, it's good to compare, but don't just pick your neighbors and slap a price on yours, yeah? What do you want to achieve with your business? What's a plan? Where do you want to go with your business? That is something that you also need to think about in the next phase. We are here where we are finding a market. First, we've registered the business, we've started, now we are finding the market, yeah? Who's your target market? Hardly does everyone start a business where you are targeting the whole world and their grandmother, true? There are specific people you want to target with your product. So who's your target market? Have you figured out who your target market is? Because what happens when you have your target market, you go directly to your target market and talk to them. So instead of your information just disappearing into the World Wide Web, you're going directly to your target market. This is the funniest thing about creating awareness. In this day and age, digital has become the easiest way to do it, right? Out of the digital platforms, who do you think is the best? Has the highest reach? Sorry? Guess what? Facebook is number 2. Guess who's number 1? Sorry? WhatsApp. That's the amazing thing. So we have number 1, WhatsApp. Number 2, Facebook. Yes. Yeah. Number 3, guess who? YouTube. So in this day and age, as you're figuring out your target market, and you know free ways of getting to them, the free medium, the marketing medium to get to them, you know where to start. So it's WhatsApp, it's Facebook, and it's YouTube. This is the funniest thing. Twitter is number 6. I couldn't believe it myself. I'm like, what? I thought Twitter is a place to be. Twitter is number 6, right? This is one thing I want to talk about that I have realized we don't do a lot in Kenya. We are still at finding markets. I have my product and I'm trying to find a market for my product. Collaborations. And it has been mentioned by every speaker who has stood here. This is where I'm coming from on collaborations, right? I have my shoes. I am selling my shoes. How do I get someone? Because at the end of the day, I need someone who can help me in running my business in terms of doing my accounting, doing my recruitment, helping me out. We need to start collaborating as Kenyans. So if I'm selling shoes and there's someone else who can do my accounting, how can we collaborate in terms of figuring out how our businesses can support each other? Are you getting what I mean? How do we pull together? One of the industries that's doing very well in Kenya is construction, right? So I'm selling sand, there's someone else selling cement, there's someone else selling, what else do you need? Sorry? Bricks, there's someone else doing the wiring. How do we collaborate, come together, and present ourselves as a unit? Because it's easier to deal with one unit than to deal with 15 people, 20 people, 25 people. But how do you collaborate, come together in terms of ensuring that you're actually making yourself and keeping yourself relevant in the market. That is how you find the market. So we have now found our market. We are servicing our market. We are going. Business is going good. You're producing, you're selling, you're producing, you're selling. We've reached a phase where we called record keeping. It's not a favorite of many business and entrepreneurs. True? People are already smiling. They're like, oh, did she have to touch on it? Yes, I do. Record keeping. It's very basic. Keep it very simple. Don't complicate your life, right? But it's good to keep your records. So I have shoes. Why am I stuck on shoes? Okay, let's work with it. I have shoes. How many shoes do I have? 1,000 pairs, okay? Put it down somewhere. I have 1,000 pairs of shoes that I bought at this price, and this was my total cost, okay? That's for the month of February. I have sold shoes. Keep that record. Out of my 1,000 pairs of shoes, I have sold 700 of them at this price, and this is my total revenue. So in stock, how many pairs of shoes should I be having? How many? 300. I should be having 300 pairs of shoes. Okay? So now, having done that, what are my costs out of selling the 700 pairs of shoes? I used transport, I made a call, I did this, I did that. Keep that record somewhere. It doesn't have to be smart, but it has to be exact. Okay? Record keeping is very, very critical. Another thing that we need to keep under record keeping that we never take seriously, customer information. And this is a big, big gap in this market. Who are your 700 customers? Where did you find them? What are their details? Because what happens when you get the next batch of shoes? Who are the first people you're going to talk to? Your 700, right? You will send out a burst email or a burst SMS to say, hey, I got new shoes and they are this size. Who do you think will come and buy from you? Sorry? Yes, customers who are coming back, return customers. The focus that we have a lot in this market, unfortunately, we are too focused on acquiring customers that we never work at retaining the customers we have. You've convinced me to spend 1,500 on a pair of shoes. If I loved it, guess what? The next trip, I'm going to spend 3,000 shillings because I know I can trust your product. Now, convincing someone to spend that 1,500, you spend so much money and time. Let us work towards customer retention. I am already here. Convince me. Remember the trousers and the shoes? I have bought a pair of shoes. You're like, I know you'll struggle with finding trousers. Buy a trouser too. Let's work at customer retention. Okay, so business is going. We are record keeping. It's the end of the month. The unfortunate thing nowadays is that, I'm saying unfortunate for businesses, because the government has linked everything. Have you realized that? Have you realized that? They are linking everything with your PIN. Your name just pops up everywhere in the government database, if it needs to be. So let's talk about compliance. You've already registered your business and you have gotten a PIN. Yeah? At the end of the month, the government expects you to do what they call a monthly tax, and especially if your goods are taxable or your services are taxable. Now, this is why I tell guys you will get caught. Assuming you've sold something to Tri.B, right? I am 100% tax compliant. I am going to state that I have paid XYZ certain amount of money that's inclusive of taxes. So the government will sit pretty. They may not come for you today, but in their record somewhere, XYZ owes us some taxes, okay? So now, make sure that your business is one, registered, and then you're tax compliant. It is a small price to pay. I will tell you of a story. The big corporates are very supportive of SMEs. And so is government. True? Someone got a business deal once to plan an event for one of these big corporates. So they were very excited. We like your idea. It's different from what we've seen before. Oh, amazing. Okay, let's start registering. Give us a tax compliance certificate. Do you think the company had one? They didn't have one. Because it's the things you think you don't have to do. So what do you think happened to their first big deal? They lost it. It's the small things that we start doing now. And the beauty about it, the government knows you're a startup or you're an SME who's been operating for 2-3 years. They're not expecting you to be, reporting some phenomenal profits, but they know that we need to hear how you're doing in your business, right? So compliance is a big thing. We are still operating, we are headed. You've reached a point where you require financing because you need to expand. I love what that lady said. I can't remember her name in the video, who said, as long as you have an idea, you don't need money. I agree. It's just to start your business and you keep it going. Start small and build. But now we've been operating for a while. Let's say a year, 6 months, 2 years, and you require financing. Why do you require financing? Expansion, right? So where do you get this financing? Who usually gives us money? Banks, SACCOs, the government, through all the funds that they have. Youth Fund, WEZO, Women Enterprise Fund. We have venture capitalists, true. What do all these guys require? What do they require when you go to them to seek money? Even angel investors will ask you this. Lovely. Thank you very much. Please say it louder. Projections. You need to have a business plan. You remember my idea of where are we going with this product or this business that we started? So you have to have a good business plan in place, right? Remember my records that you didn't want to keep so much, where you're like, We want to see those records. What have you done? What have you achieved? Who are your clients? How far are you going to go with this client base? All that is information. Nothing you do in your business is in vain, right? So once you put all that, anyone will give you money, especially if they see you have a plan and a direction as to where you're going, right? So keep those records and keep that business plan going. Now, we have dealt with the hard stuff. Of course, now when you get your money for business expansion, that will allow you to do more production. It will allow you to acquire more markets. You remember someone also mentioned, you're in Nairobi now, but you think, I can tackle Nakuru, Naivasha. That's what expansion money will do for you. It will allow you to hire a team that can support you in going forward. But that's the hard stuff. Let's talk about the soft stuff of entrepreneurship. The reality of it. Everyone wants to start a business because they want to be their own boss. Doesn't that sound nice? I want to be my own boss. I don't have to answer to someone. What is the reality? You have to give your blood and you have to give your blood and sweat and tears. Why? Because you have a client base to serve, right? That's the truth about entrepreneurship, that everything begins and ends with you at the start. You may not win on the first, second, third, fourth, fifth round. Do you give up? We are not traders. Are we traders? We are entrepreneurs. So what do? We keep going. Our eye is on the ball. Remember, we have a plan and a place where we are going with this business and the reason we started it in the first place. So we keep going. There's a place we are taking this business. You won't know everything. That's a reality. And someone said it. You won't know everything. But then, how do you get this? How do you get the support that you require for your business? My number one, collaborations. Bring in partners that can bring in the different ideas and cover for you in the areas that you feel you have shortcomings. Okay? Number two, mentorships. You will never walk up to someone unless they are from another planet who has been through it, and they'll tell you, I'm not going to help you. Mentorships. Find someone who has been through it, has sweated, has cried, has lost blood, and they are keeping on going. They are the best class that you'll ever have, right? Learning sessions. Isn't this a learning session? And there are so many of them that we are doing in this Nairobi on entrepreneurship. Go learn something. You'll pick a thing or two. And finally, how many of you read? Books, 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 books. We have e-books. How many are reading a book right now? You're listening to? That too. Okay, I guess I'll rephrase that. How many are touching a book? In either way, whether you're reading it or listening to, right? Books will always be the source of information that you require, and they will guide you. It's good to see what someone else did in that experience, right? My favorite one, and that's what we've talked about, build systems for your business. Don't be the business. We get caught right there, where you become the business. So the day you're not in your business, it collapses. You've heard of people who are like, I can't go on leave. I can't afford to be sick. You're telling the doctor, you can't admit me. My business is going to collapse. You're collapsing yourself. Build systems that will ensure your business sustains outside of you. And the reason the startups come to us, because they've realized that they're like, build me a business that is not me. It's a business that can stand on its own, right? So in your small ways, start building businesses that can stand on their own. My parting shot. We've walked through the journey of how to build a business. We've talked about the various challenges and possible ways in which you can help meet those challenges, right? My parting shot for you. Always have a plan for your business. I asked this at the beginning, where are we going with this business? So that every hurdle that you come across, you're able to jump over it because you know you have a bigger picture plan, right? Always have a plan. Compliance, compliance, compliance. Don't shortchange yourself because you didn't do one tiny thing. And a lot of all these businesses, supermarkets, if you're going to supply a product, will ask for that. They want to ensure they're not in trouble with the government on your behalf. So compliance, compliance, compliance. I can't say enough of that. We've talked about operations where your business operates without you. Build systems outside of your business. You're not the business, right? Work towards having a business that's sustainable outside of you. My favorite one, again, build partnership and collaborations. Find partners that you can work with who can help complement different aspects of your business where you feel you need help or you have a shortcoming. Yeah? Keep going. Keep going. No matter what comes your way, keep going. Remember the big plan? That's where we are going. So keep going. Don't let it drag down. There are days you wake up and you don't want to leave your bed. You're like, how did I get myself into this? Am I going to survive this? But dust yourself up and keep going. Last but not least, we are a very intelligent society, a very intelligent economy. We can actually self-sustain. We've never thought about it, but the reality is we can. Let's start building Kenyan for? Let's start building Kenyan. Actually, let's continue building Kenyan for Kenyans. I had to wear one today. This is done by Mambo Pambo, a Kenyan business that designs clothes using African fabric. We are doing a lot on that area. We can self-sustain as an economy. And it starts with you and the idea that you have. Thank you very much.